Hello, it's me, Josh Hunter. I'm presently in Santa Monica, and I got a couple of things I'd like to say. First thing is I'd like to bring up term. A term to, I like to introduce terminology every now and then and see if it gets accepted into the general lexicon. The term is, this is not Gizmo. And this is from the film Gremlins. It is inspired from the film Gremlins 2. Or I mean, the line is anyway. I mean, the line is in the movie. But it means when there's something like this thing is obviously like not the thing that we think it is. Like it's obviously like it's like, I mean, you could use the word knockoff, but it's not. That's not quite accurate. Like a knockoff, at least there's something redeemable in a knockoff. Like, so when you say this is not, all right. So in the film Gremlins 2, all right. Let's see. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. All right. In the film Gremlins 2, like, all right, the Gremlins movies are about like these little creatures, and if you get them, they're like little monsters. But you have certain there are rules that you have to use in order to make sure they don't get out of hand. And one of the rules is like you don't feed them after midnight. Another one is you can't get them wet, otherwise they multiply. And they don't like bright lights. So so anyway, in the film Gremlins 2, this guy's like, hey, one of them is named Gizmo. He's like the main one, the original Gremlin. And this guy, he says, hey, he tells his girlfriend, he's like, make sure you take Gizmo home. Okay, he's in my desk or whatever. So when you go to my office, come pick him up. What he didn't know is that Gizmo had already multiplied. So he goes, his girlfriend goes to the office. She picks up this gremlin who looks like Gizmo, but I mean he's not Gizmo, but she's not. She's like, whatever. He kind of looks like Gizmo. So she takes him home, and I don't know if he actually says this. Like I don't. It's been a while since I've seen this film, but you know, she brings the little gremlin home, or they're called Mogwai actually, Mogwai, and she brings it home, and he's like, this is not Gizmo, and it just looks like Gizmo, and he's all wacky and like fucking like they just have like the same like pattern like their fur or whatever. But anyway, so when you want to say that something really isn't what it is, like something less respectable than a knockoff, basically a knockoff, like a less respectable knockoff, is what you would call when you want to. What you say the phrase "this is Gizmo" or "this is not Gizmo." So, for example, like if you I don't know if you I don't know. I'll try. I'll try and think of something. Anyway, the next thing that I'd like to bring up. So since 2008, or between 2008 and I think 2018, I studied this thing, a series of books, which is also known as it was a religious activity called the I Am activity, and I studied this very intensely. And I say study, you know, I mean, I believed in it to the degree that I had discovered things within the books that had proven themselves as being true to me. And so basically what these books are about is this religious activity. It started in 1932, and it's based upon the idea that there was this guy, his name was Guy Ballard, and he was traveling on the mountain, Mount Shasta, and he met this guy who claimed to be an ascended master, meaning similar to Jesus, and that Jesus, because Jesus, when went to heaven, he is considered like an ascended being. So this guy is saying, I'm like Jesus too. and so, So anyway, this guy, his name is literally Guy, and he meets this, he meets Saint Germain. Saint Germain says, "Hey, let me tell you the truth." He's like, what Jesus did, we all have to do. We all have to ascend and go into heaven. But I'm gonna like tell you a better way. Like, you don't have to do it like that. And so these books are basically all the things that Saint Germain told him. And in it, there's a lot of stuff. Like, there are 20 main series books in this entire religious activity, and I've read them all multiple times, like many times. Like I said, I've been studying this since 2008. They also have a newsletter that they brought out. There's a temple even that I used to visit in Long Beach. I've been to several times. It's where I used to buy my materials anyway. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, I studied it and I liked it, and I was getting results. I mean, nothing necessarily practical. I mean, I was not able to procure a home or friends, but I liked the results I was getting. And so I tried to, but I kept on studying and studying. And sometimes when you're really into something, you don't necessarily, and I'm not necessarily knocking this. I mean, it's just, when you're a person like me, like if you're really into it, it could be like, if it turned out to be true, is what I'm saying. If all these things in these books were true, that's, to me, makes it seem like risky, like dangerous. Because in this book, like Guy Ballard, his wife Edna Ballard, and their son Donald Ballard, they meet all these other ascended masters. Like they're saying that this happened, that they literally met all these beings who ascended just like Jesus, and they're all hanging out. And they're saying, man, once you get into heaven, it's going to be really great. We can do all these things. And I never really took the time as I was studying it to think about, like, well, wait a minute, what's really going on here? Like, I'm not really concerned about whether it's true or not. I'm more concerned about, is the logic sound? Does the logic work? Does it all add up? Let me see some fucking receipts, you know? And so, sorry, I didn't mean to say, like, you know, fucking or whatever. I mean, I meant to say fucking, but I felt like it was a harsh tone. I don't want to be harsh here. And so in it, like they go from place to place with Saint Germain and these other masters, and they're going from place to place, and they're showing them all their magic. They're able to bring food without hands and various things, and I don't mind all that. That's all probably true. But the thing that I realized is, like, it is very similar to very many other religions, is that they're always trying to get you to go somewhere other than Earth. Most religions are always like, come to some better place. You don't want to be on Earth. Earth is bad. Remember all the things that happened to you on Earth that you didn't like. And as I'm like watching it, I'm thinking, or I mean, as I'm like reading it, I'm thinking, man, all right, it's like they're trying to convince you of all these things, but it's like they're just basically just hanging out. You know, it's like, it's not like when they're trying to show you, like, oh, here are all the cool things that you can do as an ascended master. It's like they're basically just like hanging out, like watching TV, like they go to parties. I mean, they literally have like a screen, like they call it a cosmic screen, but it's literally just like watching TV, hanging out, and they have something similar to booze, like they drink booze, like it's just like a fucking party. And so it took me a while to, you know, and over the years I tried to tell people, it's like, hey, you guys want to read this? I tried to explain it to people. I'm like, I really believe in this, and and of the parts that have been proven to me, I thought, yeah, this is true. And that's the thing. I still think a lot of the power that it has is accurate. But the thing is, I can't locate the source of it. I don't know I can't know if it's I don't know what the original source of it is. So the day I decided to stop believing in this, I remember I was sitting down. I was actually right here in this park. I'm in Tongva Park, and it was like maybe 2018, like autumn or winter of 2018. And I'm sitting in this park, and I write something down. I say to myself, I say, there are definitely like women who exist who like me and care for me honestly. And I wrote this down, and I looked at it, I'm like, wow, what a big fucking lie, you know. And I know that sounds bitter. That sounds very bitter. And I'm not bitter. I mean, I'm like, I could not believe this. Like, it was something that was such an unbelievable fucking thing for me to believe in. Like, nobody fucking cares about me, and that's all right. They got the right. They have a right to not believe, or to not care about me. But once I wrote this down, I'd never written such an unbelievable statement. And then for some reason, I was able to see this book more clearly, or these series of books, this belief system. Because in this belief system, they're saying, okay, one of their main things is, like, when you are in, the ultimate thing is that there are no mistakes. Like, you can't make an error because God, you know, which they refer to as your presence, can't make a mistake if they're constantly demanding that you be obedient to their to God. So, like, why is God asking for obedience if you can't even make a mistake? Like, these are logical fallacies. And as I continued to go through it, I realized, wait a minute, there are a lot of these things that don't add up. I'm not going to get into all of it, but once I wrote down this thing, which was obvious a lie, I was able to see other lies that were, I don't know if they're necessarily lies, but anyway, so I just in case, this was written in the 30s, and I studied it for a long time, probably about, like I said, between 2008 and I had a bunch of things I was going to say, and now I guess I said it in the most succinct way that I possibly could. Anyway, I'm not going to be studying these books anymore. I'm completely finished. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So a lot of the things they also say is that their substance, the Ascended Master's substance, is eternally pure and perfect, and it only makes everything better. So to test this, what I did was I created an email. So also in the books, they say that the word Satan doesn't necessarily mean the devil, but it simply means that you should turn away from your bad creations. So it's not that there is a devil, but you just have to. Satan means to turn away from evil things. So I came up with this email, and I called it Satan Kurama. And my intent was, like, if this stuff is so pure, if it's so right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and mix it, because obviously the world has this very great idea about Satan being an evil person, okay? And also, I think the word Kurama means devil or demon. So I said, all right, I'll mix the word devil and demon and Satan with this substance, which is supposed to be eternally pure and perfect and only makes everything great. So I have this email, and I put I sent myself a bunch of emails containing photographs, the images that they have of the Ascended Masters, which is supposed to be their pure substance. Because when I look at the pictures, I fucking feel something. Like, there's definitely a warmth in the radiance, but I can't trace it. I don't know where it's coming from. And just because it's a light doesn't mean it's a good light, and doesn't mean that it's a cheap light too. It might be extremely expensive. So what I was hoping to do was, if I can combine the energy of the word Satan and Kurama, which I think also means demon, with this pure energy, which is, you know, Jesus, Saint Germain, all these other guys, like, if I combine it, it should, like, you know, erase the supposed evil, so to speak. So I have this email, but I got locked out of it. I don't know the password, and in order for me to get back into it, I have to have a phone number, which I don't have. So I've been locked out of this for years. I haven't been to that email in a while. But, and I also use the word Satan Kurama because it's an anagram of the name Sanat Kumara, who is also considered an Ascended Master, who also shows up in, like, Hindu stuff as well. So, so anyway, I wanted to show, these were one of my methods to try to determine whether or not this stuff was real, whether or not it was true. These guys are saying their substance is perfect and it only makes things better. So I thought, well, combine it with something that everybody thinks is imperfect, like Satan and devils, and see what happens. I don't know if it worked, but I'm not reading these books anymore. I don't want to study that. I've got everything. I mean, I don't mean like I got everything I need to know. I mean, to me, it's basically a warning. Like, just make sure you pay attention to what you believe in. That's what the books tell me. And, so yeah. I'm 33 years old, and I have the best grades on earth.